Let's get to our closing bell exchange today. Kick this around with CNBC contributor Peter Bookvar from the Lindsay Group, Stephen Sarge Guilfoyle from TheStreet.com and Sarge 986 LLC, and Rick Santelli checks in from Chicago as well. So, guys, what do you think? Sarge, pick your sector. As I said, each one's going down for different reasons today. What do you make of the sell-off today?
Well, I mean, it makes sense. It doesn't feel very good, but it makes sense. We have political risk. We have healthcare reform that is putting tax reform at risk, thus endangering the whole reflation trade. So what are they doing? They're taking some of that reflation trade off. We're having a deflation trade today. Small caps, transports, the banks, sold, sold, sold. What are they buying? They're buying gold. They're buying treasuries. They're buying bond proxies. It does make sense. I went shopping myself today. I mean, this is not going to scare the stuffings out of me. I see airlines coming, and I thought they looked good yesterday. I went out and bought them today. I bought Southwest. I bought Delta. I hedged myself, but I did dive into these names that are getting hurt.
Okay. When you said shopping, I thought about the retailers. So, hey, they could use a break, but you're talking about Wall Street. Peter, though, you did focus on some of the comments from Representative Brady earlier. In case anyone missed it, when it comes to the border adjustment tax, here's what he had to say.
Is that border adjustability has become a given, that it will be part of the final tax reform plan. And really now the discussions are, how can it be designed and transitioned in a very positive way for importers?
That was Representative Brady speaking on Squawk Box this morning, Peter, but the market started out okay. It seems like it was something else that happened throughout the session, or would you say his insistence about border adjustment is one of the reasons the retailers and everybody else is struggling?
I think it's the main reason. Certainly it was a delayed reaction. I think he spoke at about 8:30. The XRT, the retail ETF, actually opened up. It wasn't until about 9:35 that it started to sell off. But retailers are freaked out about this, and I think deservingly so. It's a hugely controversial tax. I know it is a key part. The issue also is that if it doesn't get past the Senate, then they're back to square one, because I've heard nothing about a plan B. But retailers are right to be nervous. Now, maybe over time it works out for them, but in the short term, I think deservingly so they're nervous. And that certainly was a major factor, I think, in today's weakness in stocks.
Hey, Rick, so what about this reflation trade in reverse? You know, the dollar index is back below 100. The yield on the 10-year, 242. But then there you've got gold, and Sarge feels that the gold rally is part of this deflation trade. What do you think's going on here?
Well, first of all, I always put gold off to the right, because gold is one of those things where there's a lot of answers, even if you only ask one question. With regard to the reflation trade, I call it the growth trade. And I think the dollar index has been odd man out on cooperating with that trio, meaning equities, rates, and the dollar, for about a week and a half now. So I agree with Peter. First of all, delay reactions are quite common, especially when they involve openings. You know, traders want to see if important news actually makes its way into the market, and they want to give it a little breathing room. And they did, about an hour, as Peter described. And the dollar index, right at the same time, had already been moving, and it started to speed up. So, my opinion, you know, it's difficult to pin things to politics, but I think in this instance it's warranted. I would just have one asterisk phrase of caution. That is, let's take worst case scenario, shall we? I personally think things are going to pass. I think this is the legislative process. It's messy. And with regard to health care, if repeal and replace doesn't work, what does that leave us with? Obamacare, which we had for 7.5 years. So it makes sense the market would try to aim back into a direction of the past. But don't give up the roost so quickly here. You know, don't underestimate Trump. Don't underestimate the Freedom Caucus's ability to do some compromising. Most of all, you know, when they count votes, they're not going to have a vote if there's not enough. You know, I do like Mitch McConnell's view. You know, let's make the sausage the old-fashioned way. We don't need everybody to start out as Borgs. I'm still optimistic on legislation, but it's right to question the market's ability to digest so much without any type of retracement.